Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the refirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share all of our subject matter experts with you all over the place because, you know, we don't work in one lane with this radio program. The way I describe it to when people come to me and say, Tom, tell me about your radio show. I say, how about if I tell you what we don't do and then just include everything else? We don't do religion. We don't do politics. We may talk about it here and there, and I'm a believer and I'm a faith person and all that kind of stuff. But there's enough of that out there and there's enough of the politics out there. We don't need to deal with that stuff. But everything else is covered. I mean, if I find a book, if I find somebody on LinkedIn, if I find whatever I believe is going to help you, if it's going to help me, then I believe it's going to help you. Just like last week's episode with my sponsor, Brock Fletcher. Brock was here. Reality of Real Estate. Please check out Keller Williams. Please check out those podcasts. 25 podcasts, 25 episodes over the last, 5 years or so that we've done with Brock. Stacy Robison was with him. Robison. Sorry, Stacy. I said it wrong again. Robison. I did it through the whole episode. I'm such an adult sometimes, but they were awesome. And Stacy's just on her game. I mean, she could carry the whole show, which she may do down the road for what we're doing with the radio program. So that was last week's episode. Please check that out. If you're getting close on something to do with upsizing, downsizing, real estate issues, boom, there you go. You got him. Brock Fletcher. He's the man, the selling team of Keller Williams Realty, sponsor of this program. Today, newbie, although he's not a rookie, this guy knows what he's doing. Quinn Magnuson is my guest. Going to call this one Effort Over Results. I was just a guest on Quinn's podcast recently, and he is an awesome guy. He's entering the refirement zone. He is absolutely on fire with this stuff, and he's got a really nice program and a nice thought going on, and he's really great example for everyone. Maybe you're in Quinn's, because Quinn's a little bit younger than I am. Of course, most people are younger than I am, but that's okay because everybody's going to hit that space in their life when you need to do something other than your career. And it could happen at any point. We've talked about this. Refirement can happen when you're 25 years old. Okay. Quinn Magnuson, Effort Over Results. I want to welcome to the program the CEO and founder of Effort Over Results, coaching, keynote speaker, ICF Certified Leadership, performance coach, all that good stuff. I want to welcome to the radio program for the first time my buddy Quinn Magnuson, host of Effort Over Results podcast, CEO, founder, Effort Over Results coaching, keynote speaker, ICF Certified Leadership. You name it, he's been there with over 2 decades of experience spanning leadership coaching and advisory services. Quinn is committed to empowering individuals who are trying to get their life together. Who knows what's going to happen in life? We need coaches. We need good people like a Quinn Magnuson. This guy knows what's going on. I want to welcome to the program. Looking forward to this one. Quinn, welcome. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, Tom. And I loved our conversation the other day, and I can't wait for today's show.
We're looking forward to this, man. We're going to have a great friendship here. You're a wonderful guy, and you've got great experience with what you're doing in your life, and you're getting ready to move. You're doing all the things in the refirement zone that people need to do. So you're a perfect example. You're a perfect guest to have on for this. And talking about effort over results, I love the EOR concept. I want to promote this. I think it's absolutely. I was talking to somebody today about this effort. It's a student who just graduated who's stressed out today. Lucas Ring. He's a good guy. Just great. He's a 4.0. So here's the thing, everybody. This kid, he's been on the radio show too. Lucas Ring, I saw him at the gym this morning. He's stressed out. He's a 4.0. He's a Dean's List kid. 4.0 graduate at Michigan State University. I mean, this kid is on fire. And he's stressing about his next job because he's got an internship. He just graduated. These things, I just told him. Did you give it your best effort? Yes. You're good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hand that to you, Quinn, because I know I took a little while to get you in here, but it's like effort is everything. But let's talk about you and your family first in this segment, the rest of it, and then we'll get into what you think is very, very important for this refirement zone, the journey that you're going through, and the tips that you can give to people. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, you know what? Amazingly enough, Tom, since we talked twice in my conversations this week, I actually used the term refirement zone. So you already got me indoctrinated into your little cult here. I love it, man.
Thank you.
I've been refired, up in my life, and I'll give you a little bit of my background here. So I don't sound Canadian, even though I am fully Canadian. I might sound more like an American because I spent a few years down in the States, but. You know what? My background was basically athletic. My family is a bunch of teachers and athletes. I had an uncle that played for the Chicago Blackhawks. So for your fans in the Michigan area, they would probably recognize the name Keith Magnuson from the 1970s. Played with them for 10 years, coached for 2.
That's your uncle?
Yeah?
Keith Magnuson was a stud.
He was a scrapper, man. Like he came out of the University of Denver winning 2 national championships, was NCAA All-American 2 years in a row. Was actually the most gentlemanly player at the NCAA tournament in 1967, and then goes into the NHL and becomes the enforcer for that. That time they called them goons.
He retired.
6 foot, 185, but red-haired, fiery Canadian kid that just protected all of his teammates. And you know what? Uncle Keith is the kind of guy that I tried to really pattern my life after because he was an absolute legend. And he still is in Chicago, his name and number in the rafters at the United Center. So heavily influenced by athletics. I had a cousin that played at University of Northern Michigan who ended up with the Tampa Bay Lightning for a season and goal. I had a cousin who played in Major League Baseball. I had 2 other cousins that played in the CFL. So my family is just sports. It's all about sports. And then the ladies on the other side of my family all became educators and teachers. So what an upbringing is to have a family that all we do is learn from each other, teach each other, but then also there's that sports background. And that's really where effort over results kind of was born, even though I didn't call it that back then. I didn't even know what that meant back then. What I knew is that if there's anything that I wanted in life, I just had to go after it and put the effort in. But what really became more apparent to me, Tom, here in the last few years is as important as effort is, and we should praise our children, our students, our athletes, our employees for the effort they put in. It's less about obsessing about results. We want results. We want to set goals. Don't get me wrong. But man, it really is just about focusing on what you can control. And the only thing we can control, and it sounds cliche, is attitude and effort. If you have a great attitude and you put the effort in, let the results happen where they may. Let God decide where your journey is going to go. But for me, it's all about just praising, the kids I work with, the companies I work with, the athletes I work with for the effort they put in, because that is what is going to keep them fired up and it's going to build a fire inside them. I heard someone say the other day, you can light a fire underneath somebody, but they're going to stomp it out as quick as you light it. But if you build a fire inside somebody, it'll carry it forever. And so that's really what effort over results is. It's recognize the result, but praise the effort. And so my background in athletes and in athletics and just growing up in my family and from a small town in Saskatchewan, Canada, the middle of nowhere, most of your listeners won't even know where that is. Look it up on a map. It's 5 hours directly north of the Montana, North Dakota border. It is all about DIY. It is all about work ethic. It is all about just doing it yourself and really getting things done. And that's what I bring to my clients is that message of, listen, we want to get the results, don't worry, but we got to start at day one. We got to put one foot in front of the other, and we got to decide what are the inputs? What are the things we need to do to head towards that goal, that outcome that we want? But I also preach, and you've heard me say this, Tom, you should be directionally correct, not absolutely correct. And what I mean by that, and let me define that for your audience.
Hold on a second there. Hold on, because we're going to come up to break here, and this is really, really important, everybody. Sorry, Quinn, I want to give you some due justice with here, but directionally important. I'm making a note of that, everybody, because this is a key component to effort over results, the EOR framework of Quinn Magnuson. So we're gonna cover that. These are stuff we got to go over. We got to get you guys lined up and have everything. When we do these things in the correct order and the correct sequence, when we have hope, when we have dreams, we can accomplish so many things. It is unbelievable. You need to have people like a Quinn Magnuson who's been down the road. And we're going to talk a little football here too, because he didn't do himself any justice yet. We're going to get there. Don't worry here, because we got a lot of good things. Effort over results, inputs, but what direction are you going to go in? You're listening to the Tom Matt Show.
For more information on the Tom Matt RFZ mentality, please visit our brand new website at www.tommattshow.com. Subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast platform. Visit our brand new YouTube channel for consistently motivating messaging. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to bring you our guests. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing me back. And thank you to our production staff of Mitch Anderson and Vanessa for what they do for us. They're awesome people. I've turned Vanessa on to several of our guests who are requiring some issue help with editing or video content or creation. She's awesome in many different areas, and she's helped Quinn a little bit. But if you need somebody like that, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. This segment is sponsored by, you know who it's sponsored by, the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Brock Fletcher, my brother from another mother, 853-6408. That's a 517 area code. That's the office number. You need to get this number. You need to get this number memorized, 517-303-3262, or go online to kwsellingteam.com. Sell your home without hassles. You know what happens? Most agents spend an average of $400 a month on advertising marketing. Brock invests way ahead of time, like with us, way ahead of time to help you get the best bang for your buck, get the best return on your investment when it comes to your real estate. And the thing is you can trust the whole team over there. The last episode we had was Stacy Robinson, got it right that time, with Brock, wonderful. The people are just amazing people. They're just good people. And again, full disclosure, we have sold Big Household, that big monster house that we had for 20 years that we built out of dirt, got rid of our forever home. Hard to do. We understand. He understands. Stacy understands. The whole team, Mike Dedman. Mikey, how are you? Everybody understands over there what you got to do to get the best bang for your buck. You need educated people to help you, just like we do with all of our stuff with the radio show, everybody. We're just trying to help you get better, get you the best results from your effort in your life and everything that you do. Like that segue to my guest today, Quinn Magnuson, EOR, effort over results. It's all about effort. It's all about effort. Okay, I had to cut Quinn off at the end of last segment, and we'll get right to it. But we're talking about in his coaching philosophies. And one of the reasons that he knows what he's doing, because he competed at the very highest level. He didn't give himself enough credit. He talked about his uncle, Keith Magnuson, the pro hockey player. But before we go into all of this inputs, directionally important, which direction you're going, you need to talk about you a little more about your skill set and your football time. You played college football at the highest level. Talk about that and how that helped imprint with you your life with the foundation, because that, without talking about that, and of course the Michigan State connection, then we miss a big chunk of who you are. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
You know what? I don't like to talk about myself. I think that's the imposter syndrome in me. But you know what? I was a kid, once again, small town. So our city in Saskatchewan, the name of the city I live in and grew up in was Saskatoon. And 200,000 people, which may seem, I mean, it's a big enough city, but really when you ask any other Canadian or American, where is that? They have no clue. But I earned myself a football scholarship, double football and track scholarship to Washington State University out of high school. So I played at Washington State University between 89 and 93. Drew Bledsoe was my quarterback. So I'm sure you know that name. All-American and basically the number one pick in the 1993 draft. So, you know, playing at Washington State University, but I was also a track guy, well, a field guy, in that I threw shot put and discus. And I was actually the Canadian under 20 national shot put champ from 88 to 90. Went to world championships in 88 and 90, world under 20 championships, I should clarify. And to me, the combination of playing in a team sport in football and then doing the individual sport of where it's just me against the world, really refined me as a person. And so, like I said, Tom, I don't like to talk about, you know, my athletic prowess, but I mean, having played professional football in Canada, and I know the Americans will say that's not a real league, but it's been around for 130 years. So I'm pretty sure it's an awesome league. And then having competed in track and field at the highest level as well, really just taught me how to persevere, how to be determined, knowing that the only way to get to that level is through effort. but not necessarily expecting any results, because I can't control the future. I can't control outcomes. I can't predict the future. I don't know how other people are going to react and respond. All I can do is control me.
I got to ask you, though, with the thing about with the effort over results, Quinn, how much is the teamwork aspect, how connected are successful teams with the effort? I know that's a simple question, but I got to ask the question because your whole platform is built on your experiences, and how important to you as the coach, as the leader of effort over results, is that teamwork? How much can it affect the authenticity of the team?
That's a great question. I'm going to go back to and reference Good to Great, the book Good to Great, because it talks about putting people in the right places on the bus, right? In the right seats on the bus. And if you take a look at the great championship teams, of the last 100 years, the great championship teams, sure, they'll have their all-stars, but they're going to have their role players too. They're going to have their guys that nobody knows about, right? You're going to have your training staff. You're going to have, and everybody has to fit within the culture of that particular company or that particular team. And that's when teams really come together. And this is what I bring to businesses that I work with the EOR philosophy, is that culture of psychological safety. And what I mean by that, for those of you who may think that's woo-woo, it's not. It really basically just speaks to, is everybody showing up and they can be their real selves, they can fully contribute the way that they can, and that it meshes with everybody else on the team. You can put a group of all-stars together, like the dream team, and yeah, they're going to, win games, but there's going to be a lot of push and pull. There's going to be a lot of who wants the spotlight. There's going to be a lot of ego involved. What you need from your team is for everybody to park their ego at the door. You need everybody to put in full 100% effort of what they can control, so their role and responsibility. But then they also need to be adaptable to collaborate with others. And when you have those three things, that's where teamwork really just comes together.
All right, let me throw this little wrinkle into the equation here now. There, Mr. Quinn Magnuson, our guest today, effort over results, everybody. You start mixing into college athletics, and you were at that level, NIL. Now you have thrown in a complete knuckle curve into the whole shoot mess. And I only got a minute to go before we're going to go to break here, so we're going to come back and finish this thread, because this is very important for people to kind of process and understand. And of course, I'm so connected to a Big Ten university, as you know, at Michigan State. A lot of my listeners are very, very interested in this topic all over the country, all over the world. How is this going to shake out? Give me a 30-second takeaway, and then we'll come back and we'll finish that thread. Go ahead.
Here's my 30-second takeaway. I think NIL, the way they did it, wrecked college sports. Flat out just ruined it. I think that the players should be paid. Don't get me wrong, they should be paid. But the fact that they did it without guardrails, because the NCAA lost in the Supreme Court decision and basically threw their hands up and said, okay, fine, we're just going to open the doors wide open, absolutely wreck college sports. And until somebody comes in and actually puts guardrails on it, it's going to continue to fail.
That's the word from the man. And I'm telling you, I totally agree with it. It's managing this messed up deal that we got here, somehow coming up with some sort of guardrails. We'll talk about this all, because it's a huge topic. And then we'll get into effort over, because it ties into everything. Money isn't everything, everybody. It's the effort. The results isn't the money. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, this show is sponsored by, and we are accepting applications for additional segment sponsors or title sponsor if you want to go there with this, because that's the way it works with the radio. But it's got to be a fit, everybody. It's got to be a fit. There's a fit. Our financial fitness is a fit. With our reality of real estate with Brock Fletcher, it's a fit. That's why we have Brock, and Brock is such a great guy to have for us. And go to the reality of real estate, because when you go over there and you listen to some of those episodes, you're going to pick up a lot of tips and a lot of ideas and things that you may be going through from like what Sandy and I experienced with selling the forever home, which we didn't want to do, which we built from dirt, as I said. And the whole story about my neighbor Mike with, Brock coming in and not knowing Mikey at all and getting him an extra 20 grand. You got to go with people you trust. Brock Fletcher is the man. Again, phone numbers all over the place. We have got to get you to call Brock, okay? Call him. 303-3262. 303-3262. That's area code 517. That is his cell phone. Go there. Don't hesitate. It's all right there for you. You can call the office. Call the office. 517-853-6408 or go online to kwsellingteam.com. We got some meetings coming with Brock and the team over there so that we can really start to fine-tune what we're doing with the reality of real estate. Stick around because it's going to get better. That's what we're trying to do here. We're all just trying to put the effort in so we can get better results, so we can become nationally syndicated. That's always been the dream, always been the plan. And that's why Quinn Magnuson's here. Quinn Magnuson is the founder of Effort Over Results. You want to go to @Effort Over Results, @Effort Over Results, Keynote Speaker, ICF Certified. We're talking about college football because Quinn played at the highest level. And I had to pull this out of him because he's a real humble guy. But we're going to talk about a little bit more about the NIL thing. And I asked Quinn at the end of the last segment, if you just joined us, I'm going to have him repeat what he said and then expand on that because this is really important. When we're talking about effort over results in a team environment, well, when you start mixing in money, things start changing, don't they, Quinn?
Yeah. And you know what? The greatest example I have of this, Tom, my son just finished 5 years at the University of Arizona with the Wildcat program there.
In what sport?
Football.
In football. Okay.
And so he played with, Teteroa McMillan, who was a first-round pick this year. Jonas Avenea was his line mate. He was a second-round pick this year. Jordan Morgan was a first-round pick last year. But what he said it did is it divided the locker room. NIL divided the locker room. He said, in my first 2 years, 2020 and 21, he goes, the guys all went to the same parties. They all hung out together. He goes, as soon as NIL came in, he goes, there was parties for the rich guys on the team, and there was parties for the guys that weren't getting paid as well. And he said there were guys getting paid money that they knew they shouldn't have been, but the coaches were determined that they were going to be a 5-star athlete. And then there was guys who probably should have gotten paid more. And so now you create this divisiveness in the locker room. You got guys driving, brand new Escalades, and you got guys driving 1999 Toyota Corollas. And this is what's wrong with paying these players, because the original NIL was meant to be name, image, and likeness. If your name, or your image or your likeness showed up on a program, in a media guide, the jerseys, whatever, you could sell those, fine. You get a piece of that money. But they just blew the doors wide open, and now they're offering, these athletes right out of high school 6 figures. They haven't proven anything. I was going to use a bad word. They haven't proven anything.
Let me add in there. Thank you for taking a quick pause there. But they're paying these high school kids. There are some kids that are like sophomores in high school making more money in NIL than professionals. I mean, LeBron, it's ridiculous how much these kids, on what have they done? Because, I just got to say, when you start paying high school players, you got this world. It's like, okay. I mean, but that's why they need us, Quinn. Please talk about your recruiting at Michigan State real quick, and then we'll get more into the effort over results. But this is all baked into the effort over results because you did take a visit to Michigan State University when you were being recruited.
Yeah, let's go back to the 1900s. So 1988, I graduated high school, and my high school coach had actually sent my tape down to a few schools in the States. So Hawaii, Cincinnati, a few others. And one of them happened to be Michigan State. And George Perlis, the legendary George Perlis, was the head coach at the time. I believe the team had just come off the 87 Rose Bowl. And so I get recruited to Michigan State. I was 6'5", 270 coming out of high school, really athletic, Canadian shot put champ. And I got to go on a visit to see East Lansing, Michigan, and visit with George Perlis. They actually paired me up with Tony Mandarich, who would go on to be their first-round pick, their offensive lineman. Tony spent about 7 minutes with me and then pawned me off on some freshman for the rest of the weekend, as typical seniors would do. But because he was Canadian and I was Canadian, they thought it would be a good match. In the end, you know what? I ended up choosing Washington State over the Spartans only for 2 reasons. One, it was a little closer to home. and 2, because the Washington State track team wanted me to throw shot put for them, and Michigan State was really wanted me just to play football. Otherwise, I probably would have been a Spartan and been bleeding green and white the rest of my life.
What an amazing story. And I love it. See, when we find out these things from our guests, everybody, this is what's so cool about doing the radio show, because we get to the backstory of what made and gives Quinn the license and the authority to talk like this. Now you know why, because he's been at that level. Okay. You got to find people like a Quinn Magnuson who's been through it. I almost dropped the all-knowing F-bomb, which I'm so famous for doing, but I didn't. Effort over results. Now you're EOR. You're in your space now. Tell everybody what you did prior to this and why at this point you're thinking about doing this. You were not thinking about it. You're implementing this, and how excited you are about it.
I ended up getting a job with a government crown corporation here in Canada, and as a business advisor. So having been in business for 5 years of my own, and then also being very well connected in the area, they thought I would be a good fit for going out and selling our services. And so really for the last 15 years, and I literally just retired from that job a month ago, I basically would meet with CEOs, with corporations, with leaders of companies from anywhere from 2 million up to 150 million to talk about their challenges, talk about their opportunities, find something that we could help them with. And what I learned through that is that business is business. I don't care if you're a $100,000 candy shop on the corner or if you're a $100 million construction company. We all have the same problems, and they can all be dealt with in the same way, just bigger or smaller. And what I came out of that was the concept of the effort over results, was the fact that a lot of these companies are suffering because they don't praise their people for the work that they put in. They're so obsessed with just a result, with quarterly, margins, with all these metrics. And don't get me wrong, I like metrics, but they were focused only on that. And their people get burnt out, and their people are disillusioned, and then their people don't become innovative, and they basically just go through the day. This is where effort over results was born from. That and my kids, which are the inspiration for everything that I do. But what it boils down to is, how can I help you get better by helping you understand that it's all about focusing on the effort and just a little less on the result? Because when we decide to step on that scale and look at a number that we think is going to define us, that's where we go wrong.
All right, hold that thought there, because we're going to come up on break real quick here. Let me reset this thing, everybody. Quinn Magnuson's with us. He is the founder of Effort Over Results. Effort Over Results. Effort Over Results. Just go to @EffortOverResults and look this up. When we come back from break, we'll give you all his contact info, how all of this came to be, how you find him, if you want to hire him, if you want to listen to his podcast, all these good things. But he's the guy. And this great conversation. But I love what he just said, and we're going to continue this conversation with the balance between what I wrote down, the balance between effort and results, because we are very much a results-driven culture, and we need to really refocus. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate everyone giving us the time on the stream, on the broadcast, on the podcast, on the video, however, whenever you're picking us up. I totally, really appreciate it. And I really appreciate everyone who uses our sponsor. Listen to the reality of real estate. You got Brock Fletcher over there, selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Please check them out. If you're getting close on that, just go for that. Okay. TomMattShow.com, TomMattShow.com, TomMattShow.com. At the bottom of the homepage, click on through. You'll get right there to our sponsors and to some of our friends. All the old shows. It's a very, very, Very nice website, I'd have to say so myself. Okay, Quinn Magnuson's our guest, Effort Over Results. Quinn, people want to find you, hire you, take your time, share your contact information, please. We'll do this in the next segment as well, but go right ahead.
Well, I'll tell everybody you can find me at effortoverresults.com. That's the number one thing, the website. That is where all of our content is. And here's who we want to work with. In fact, I have something going on now in the rest of 2025 and 26. I want to take on 4 United States-based companies that I can work with you to help you redevelop your leadership team through the Effort Over Results philosophy. And I'm giving a money-back guarantee. Basically, what this boils down to is we're going to work with your team for 6 months. We're going to develop your team, and we're going to change your entire culture so that it is an effort over results culture. You can go to the website, effortoverresults.com, to find out what that's all about. And if you don't get the ROI that you want, you don't pay. Simple as that. Instagram, at Effort Over Results. TikTok, just search Effort Over Results. The YouTube channel, Effort Over Results Podcast, we're hitting up on 40 podcast episodes now. And we've got incredible guests right from health and fitness through to psychology, through to education and business. Everybody, much like your show, Tom, we're just trying to bring information to people that people can grow from. But you can find me on LinkedIn, Quinn Magnuson on LinkedIn, as well as the Effort Over Results business page there. As long as you're Googling and searching Effort Over Results, you can find me anywhere. But I have that call to action. I want to work with companies, especially in the United States, because I know that the United States really appreciates good coaching, a great philosophy that can transform businesses. And in the end, it ends up making you more productive and more profitable. And everybody wins then.
Find people who have played. You got to get with people. If you want to get with me as a trainer, because I played a little bit, but I've been a trainer for a long time now. Get with a guy like a Quinn who played at the highest level, professionally, college, Division I. Get with these people because they've been around. I've been around high level people for 25 years at Michigan State. You start hanging around with these people, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And the one thing that helped me the most, everybody, back 15 years ago is when I got my first coach, Philippa Burgess, when I was writing that first book way before radio, and she helped me. I can't even tell you how much. Quinn would do the same thing for you, and he just gave you a money-back guarantee, so there you go. All right, I want to get back to the balance between effort and results, because what you were saying about the money and the NIL, we're tying all this together with how do you keep the locker room together and how do you keep the workplace together and all of this. But I also want to circle and cycle into the inputs and the directionally important, because that is the key. So if you have the input and you're directionally in the right space, can we get the effort over results? That's kind of the leading question for you, Quinn. Is the direction the most important thing? What is the most important thing to get the success?
When I say that people need to focus on being directionally correct, not absolutely correct, what I mean by that is that when you obsess over a single result, a single goal that you have in mind, and I'm going to piss some people off when I say this, because everybody wants to set goals and it's like, focus on that goal and don't let anything stop you. I agree. Don't let anything stop you. But what people miss out on in that journey is what they've learned from the journey. They miss out on the effort they put in and how they built resilience and grit and determination. And there's so many people out there and companies that set these goals, set these results that are the end all be all, and they're obsessed with them. And they go through the process, they bust their butts to get there, and then they don't get the result they wanted, and they act like they would have just a waste of time. It's never a waste of time. You're always learning from that effort. So you might, let's simplify this. You might have someone who is like 300 pounds and they say, I want to get to 270. And so you decide what the inputs are. It's intermittent fasting. It's drinking more water. It's exercising more. Those are all the inputs. Let's celebrate the fact that you can go 30 days in a row by intermittent fasting. Let's celebrate you can go 30 days in a row taking in your water that you need to take in, that you exercise 20 out of the 30 days and so forth. It's more about the tiny little goals each day that count up to, and this goes back to atomic habits, right? James Clear. It's all about those tiny little habits you form, but you can't control the result. And so many people and companies feel like, well, I didn't get the result I wanted, so what was the point of the entire process? and I failed. And so they see it as win or lose, succeed or fail. And that just kills people. And we live in a society today already that already beats us down for, oh, look at all the money that guy has, or look at the car he's driving, or look at the dress she's wearing. And that's all a results-based society as well. It's all about, I want to be that. You know what? Be you. And be the best you can be every single day. Put the effort in and let the results happen where they may. There's a lot of people out there who set a goal, they head towards it. They're so absolutely correct in their focus that they lose sight of the opportunities on either side. They put blinders on and they don't see the opportunities that come. Put your head on a swivel, put the inputs in, and who knows where that's going to land. That's what I mean by effort over results. I'm not saying we don't want results. I'm not saying we don't want to appreciate and recognize a result if we did achieve it. Reward your people for the effort that they put in. Too many companies just beat on their people when they don't get results, yet they worked a year long on a project or to get a contract, or a team didn't win a championship. You're just going to say the whole season was a bust because you didn't win the championship game? No. You talk about how much better your team is because of the work you put in, how much better your son or daughter is because of the effort they put in towards being a better student. Maybe they didn't get the 90s or the A. That's okay. They put the work in. Praise the effort. You can recognize the result later.
Get the book Mindset. Go get Carol Dweck's book Mindset. Small wins. Quinn, what I do, Quinn Magnuson's our guest today, everybody. We're talking effort over results, effort over results, effort over results. Quinn, what I do with a lot of the people that I coach is I always plant the seed of the small wins, because small incremental wins will help us gain enabling beliefs. Because as you were just saying, we're so focused on the result, and we get this limiting belief. Oh, we didn't get the result. Oh, we're not capable. We're not good enough. That's bull crap. Okay. That's bull crap. And so small wins, everybody, small wins on your refrigerator, a list of little things. I got up early today. I brushed my teeth at the same time. I'm talking the things that you take for granted. Those things, when you start looking at the list, it's like, wow, I did get a lot done today, because we are so good at these limiting beliefs and diminish all of our efforts. It's like that kills effort over results, because if we diminish the effort, if we diminish what we can do, if the leadership is not giving you the praise, the at least acknowledgement that you did good or you're working hard, then you need to go take a management class or get on LinkedIn and take some of their classes, because people need this kind of stuff, especially with the generational that's going on. Okay, Quinn, we got a couple minutes to go before we go to break here. Talk about the generational differences now, because you've got, and we'll finish this thread, because Gen Z is becoming a big topic. There's at least, I think I read 25% of the population now is Gen Z. And so, and you know what? I'm the Generation Us guy. I wrote that book. You guys all know that. I wrote that Generation Us book because of the generational stuff. We have to kind of modify how we've done things in the past. Sandy and I will say, well, we didn't do it that way. But say, when you say that to a young person, Quinn, we didn't do it that way, they get very resentful. So how do we reach out to the young people? I need a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll finish that, because this is important to help coach them up. They're used to the phones, but the interpersonal stuff.
Yep. Here's what I have to say about Gen Z. There is a notion out there that there's a Gen Z problem. There is no Gen Z problem. They are not the problem. We are the problem. As Gen X parents of Gen Z children, we were the ones who told them, because we were told as parents, tell them how great they are, tell them how beautiful and handsome they are, tell them how athletic they are, regardless of whether they are or not. Remember the participation medal culture?
Oh, yeah.
That whole thing? That wrecked Gen Z children. It absolutely did. It's not their fault they are the way they are right now. But what they have done is they're breaking the rules when it comes to employment now, because they value work-life balance. They value, who they are, and they want to bring something to the table. But if you're not going to value them as individuals, and you're going to have a boomer mentality or a Gen X mentality where it's like, listen, I'm paying you a paycheck, then you better do the work, they're just going to walk out the door. And this is not what could happen. Gen Z is breaking all the rules, and I love it. They are creative. They are innovative. They are the best employees you can have, but you got to learn how to work them.
You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
For more information on the Tom Matt RFZ mentality, please visit our brand new website at www.tommattshow.com. Subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast platform. Visit our brand new YouTube channel for consistently motivating messaging. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much again for joining us. You just turned on your radio or picked up the podcast. Quinn Magnuson's our guest. Effortoverresults.com. Effortoverresults.com. EOR. Love the acronym because I'm a telecom refired guy and I love acronyms. Effort Over Results. Give us that contact info one more time there, bud. Tell everybody what your game is and what kind of offers you have, because I think that's a very, very, very nice offer that you put out there. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I want to work with leadership teams and organizations that want to switch to an effort over results philosophy and culture, which has been proven by Patagonia, Microsoft, Google, and Pixar. And basically what I want to do is I want to work with these companies. So if you're in the United States, if you're in the Michigan area, and you want me to work with your leadership team to develop this culture so you can become more productive, more profitable, have a psychologically safe work environment, and have a workplace where everybody works together and they are praised for their effort, contact me, Quinn at effortoverresults.com, Quinn at effortoverresults.com, or go to the website, effortoverresults.com. I'm basically giving a money-back guarantee for the remainder of 2025. You hire me to come in and work with your team. It's a 180-day program. At the end of that 180 days, I will show you the difference in ROI by the metrics that we use to show you how much you've improved. If you haven't improved or you don't feel like you've gotten something out of the program, you're not going to pay for anything other than my expenses. You don't pay for the program. You don't pay for anything else other than to fly me in and work with your team. I can't give you any better offer than that. This is normally a $30,000 to $50,000 program. I want to work with companies that want to change the way they do things because this works. This is not woo-woo. This is not something out of a spiritual Bible. This is something that absolutely works in the corporate world. We need to create this environment for your employees so that they stick around longer, they're more productive, and that they love coming to work every single Monday.
Simon Sinek wrote a really good book, and he talked about establishing your why, okay? Quinn, we're talking about the Gen Zers because we were talking about them a little bit in the previous segment. We want to come back to that because we've got to change our cultures and how we respect, how we coach up, how we lean into our young people. We can't talk down to people. We want to bring them together. I work with young people all the time. I talk to kids at baseball games from the ages of 8 years old all the way up to high school. I work with college kids almost every day. And it's like these young people, they're very receptive. If you're honest with them, if you look at them and you care about them, but if you're just going to be demanding and you just want a result, what I want to see is I want to see people get some juice. I want to see some people have enabling beliefs. Let's continue this conversation because I love the balance between the effort over results with the Gen Zers. What are some other tips that we can give to people? What are we doing right? I mean, you talked a little bit about what we're doing wrong. What are we doing right with our young people?
I think those leaders out there, and when I use the term leaders, Tom, I want your audience to know that I mean that's parents of children, that's teachers in a classroom, that's coaches on a field, that's business owners with their employees, anywhere where you are leading someone to become better and to be part of the team. So that's leaders. What leaders are doing right, the ones that are doing it right are the ones that are creating that psychologically safe workplace where your students, your athletes, your kids, your employees can feel like they can come to work, come into that environment and be themselves and to feel like they're not going to be chastised or punished for trying something new, that they can make mistakes without punishment. And that's the biggest one there. That is where we have failed miserably is the, punishing mistakes. We make mistakes. That means you're trying. There's no such thing as a mistake that's a failure because we learn from it. You got to coach them through it. But where I think we're working are those leaders that are taking the Gen Z mentality, which is very creative, extremely creative. These are the kind of kids that can go on YouTube and make thousands of dollars in a month that they wanted to. They don't need your job, right? They know what they're doing. They're creative, they're innovative, and they will collaborate. But once again, they want to be valued and they want to feel like they're part of something. The second that they have this, what they call the Sunday scaries, Sunday night they go to bed, they're really like, I really don't want to go to work on Monday morning. You've lost them. Okay. You've absolutely lost them. So what we want to do is we want to create an environment, any environment, once again, education, sports, whatever, workplace, where these kids want to like who they work for. They want to like who they work with. So that's their teammates, their colleagues, the people directly across from them. And they kind of want to like what they do. If you can give them that environment, they are going to be the best employees you've ever had. You got to remember, Tom, when you and I were younger, we worked out of fear. Fear and a paycheck was basically our motivation. I need the money, and if I don't, I'm going to get fired. If I don't do the work, I'm going to get fired. Well, these kids kind of don't care if you fire them because there's such a labor shortage right now that they can go find a job down the street. But where they are going to and sticking are the places where they feel like they can be themselves, where their actual input is valued, and that they feel like they're part of something larger than just flipping a burger. But even the burger flipping places value their people. So what I would say to anybody who's out there, if you're leading people in general or leading a younger group, treat them with respect, value their opinion and their input, and create that environment where they feel safe. And I know that's going to sound a bit snowflakey, but that's not what I mean. When I say a safe environment, it's where they feel like they can come and they're not going to be punished for doing something wrong, for saying something wrong, for, things like that. I remember when I was a teacher, there were kids who came to my classroom to feel safe because their home life wasn't. They came to my practices for football, soccer, basketball, track and field because their home life wasn't. Employers, you got employees working for you. Your workplace is their safe environment. Create that for them, and they will be absolutely most loyal, most dedicated, most productive employees you will ever find.
One thing I encourage the young people at the university, Quinn Magnuson is our guest today, everybody, effort over results, is we don't do a very good job of retaining our young talent. And it's like, you know what? It's not always about the money, everybody. It could be about the long-term viability. It's the long-term creativity. It's being part of a team and being valued. And if you can find that, if you can inspire that in people and show people that you are you're grateful for their inputs and that you want to help them get better. That was the cool thing about working at the university for me, because I took advantage of all of the benefits that they offered us as far as our continuing education, going back and getting a couple of degrees. I mean, just find those employers that are going to do those extra things for you. It might not always be the money, the reward, okay? It might not be that. It might be something else. You think it's the money because you got a big debt load or you got a student loans or all that kind of stuff. It actually is probably not the case, everybody. It's what I've learned about financial freedom is it gives you freedom. When you hit this certain number, it just gives you the freedom to do more creative things like what Quinn and I are doing. Quinn Magnuson's our guest today. We want to have effort over results. All right, we're coming close to the end of the show here, and I want to give you ample time. I mean, I know I told you a couple minutes. I've got about 4 minutes to go here, but I want a solid takeaway from Quinn Magnuson about everything we talked about, and let's leave everybody fired up and want them to go to effort over results and find you. So take the rest I'll give you the signal, and you just plug and pump. Let's pump some people up and get them ready to go out there and get a hold of you because they know you're legit. Go ahead.
Tom, it's something we talked about earlier this week. ABC. All right. People want to know, where do I get confidence? I don't have any confidence. Okay. That's the C in ABC. How do we get confidence? Confidence comes from action. That's your A. In the middle, what's the B? You and I know this. It's belief, right? Action. Constant effort, constant action, constant movement forward, constant, making yourself better, 1% a day. Constant action helps you reduce your limiting beliefs and build belief in yourself, which ultimately results in confidence, right? This is what I want people to walk away with today is ABC. Action builds belief in yourself, which ultimately builds confidence, not the other way around. You don't get confidence and from just yelling affirmations at yourself in a mirror. It comes from action, which builds that belief. And this is what EOR really is built around, is we need to praise people for the effort they put in, the action they put in. because then they can believe in themselves because you've praised them for the effort. They know they can control it. The students can control it. The athletes can control it. Your children can control it. The employees can control their effort. Then they start to believe in themselves, which builds confidence, which builds incredible employees, incredible students, incredible athletes, your own children. I made 20 years of mistakes with my kids. I was a good father, but I made the mistake of always focusing on the result, always focusing on the outcome, and were they going to get a scholarship, and were they going to be the best athlete in their school? And I look back and I go, man, did I screw that up? And now I'm going back and I'm trying to rewrite that book for everyone else out there, for parents, for educators, for coaches, and for owners. Effort over results is about helping people understand that it is action first that helps them believe, that creates confidence in themselves. And for those businesses out there that are thinking about contacting me and having you work with them, this is what I want to build in your company. I want you to start praising your people for their efforts. If you want to find out if you're an effort-based company or results-based company, go to my website, effortoverresults.com. Take the EOR test. On the website, there are 2 tests. That's an individual test for you, and there's a company test for groups. And you can find out exactly where you're at. And if you score low on that test, that little quiz, it's 10 questions, you should be calling me. effortoverresults.com.
He is Quinn Magnuson. Good job, man. CEO and founder of Effort Over Results. Effort Over Results, coaching, keynote speaker, ICF Certified Leadership, performance coach, former professional football player, college athlete, pro athlete, you name it. He's got the experience. Plus, he's a dad. Plus, he's just throwing himself under the bus. He's a great guy. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests, like a Quinn Magnuson. Go check out Effort Over Results. Please do that. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. I close every episode with that sentence. Thank you to Quinn for being here. Sandy, Craig, Brock. We will have a great time next week, everybody. Go out and ignite your life. Have a great week. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. And lastly, I want to say thank you again to our production staff of Mitch Anderson, you're the bomb, and Vanessa, you're even more the bomb.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.